Well, Ty, thanks for coming. Thanks for taking the time. I know the NASCAR schedule is pretty intense, and it's most weekends and most weeks you're working. So we very much appreciate you taking some time to bring the family down here. Welcome back to Truist Park. I know this has got to be like a fun work trip, right?
Absolutely. They asked you to come to a Braves game. I've been a long time Braves fan. It's like automatic, and luckily we were able to bring my kids. This is going to be their first game, so we're thrilled to be here. And being a big Braves fan, this is an easy yes for sure.
I'll start there. So. My daughter is 1 year old, so I'm obviously I'm a lifelong Braves fan, and I work for the Braves. So I'm hoping that as she gets older, that I can, train her to be a Braves fan and love baseball. But do your kids? I saw your son was wearing a Braves hat.
Yeah.
They're pretty young. Have they gotten into watching baseball with Dad at all yet?
They're getting there. I'm trying to push it as hard as I can, but I don't want to push it too hard. I want to make sure that they love it on their own. But my son is getting into it. He just started T-ball, so he's starting to get it. And I think the fun of that is, and part of today is really pushing that. But the only team they will know is the Braves, so we don't have to worry about that. If they love baseball, they're going to love the Braves. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, tell me, I know obviously your family's history in racing, your grandfather, Richard Childress, your brother, Austin, he's been on with us before, your dad, Mike, long time in racing. So how did the Braves fandom start growing up? I mean, you grew up in racing. I also grew up in racing, but I was a TBS kid, so wherever we were on the NASCAR schedule, we're watching Braves games.
That's
so
right.
How did it start for you?
Yeah, we grew up in TBS country, so that was what was on TV. But it really started with my grandfather. He struck up a relationship with Ned Yost, longtime third base coach here, went on to coach the Kansas City Royals, obviously. But they had a friendship, and actually I think when baseball was on strike, Ned came and worked for my grandfather in racing. Came to a couple of races, just hung out with the team, him and Dale. And they had such a close relationship. So when Austin and I were young, baseball was back, and he brought us to games when we were little. And we got to meet our heroes at the time. We had watched the game. So at that time, it was my brother played shortstop in baseball, and I was a catcher. So Javi Lopez, Rafael Furcal, Chipper Jones, obviously. And then obviously as time went on, Chipper Jones would come to the Daytona 500, so we got to know him through the Real Tree folks, Tyler Jordan, Bill Jordan, who have a great relationship with the Braves country as well. And so we've just always been connected to the Braves. It's been no other team for us. And as I was telling the folks walking in, like the World Series a few years ago, I've never been so nervous. I would have to leave the room when we were on defense just because I couldn't stand the fact of if they were going to score another run. And I could watch offense, but I couldn't watch defense for some reason. And my wife still has a video of me celebrating when we finally won it. But just been a long-time fan and just so passionate about it. Love it. It's given me so many memories. We came down here as about the same size as my kids are now, and got baseball signed and got to meet Hank Aaron one time. So it just had so much cool Braves memories, and they're part of our heart and our family.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw a picture of you on the field at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Yeah. It's just, I love it. It's pictures of me, and I'm already getting pictures of my daughter like this. So I'm like, there's something so pure and great about it, and you love it that much more as the years go on. You're able to look back on it. So we may or may not use that picture in promoting this podcast. Just throwing it out there.
Please do.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's got to be. I know we touched on it already, but that's got to be such a cool thing now as a father to bring your kids. To the way your grandfather brought you here all those years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm finding the memories you made as a child or as a person are awesome in life, but when you have children and you get to see it through their eyes the same way you did, it's twice as good. So I'm so excited for today and doing it with them and just sharing this moment with my wife and both of them. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a little one too. He's back at home. We left him at home, but we'll have to do it another time with him. He's one, so we'll do
gives
it
you an
again.
Excuse to come back.
Absolutely, we got to find plenty of excuses to come back to games. So.
That's right. So you were you talked about playing as a kid. You were a catcher. That was your main spot.
That was my main spot. I guess my secondary position would be center field. I played a little bit of second base too. Yep.
Okay. How was catcher? Definitely your favorite though.
Definitely my favorite. I had a pretty good pop time. I could gun him out. Yeah, I made the AllStar team for a few years there, and then I went on to football. Then it was racing. By the time I was 13, I was all racing. I played a little bit more baseball, maybe a little bit of high school, but not a whole lot more. Okay.
You mentioned Javi. Was he your guy growing up?
Absolutely, man. He was so smooth. I just loved the way he played the game. Obviously, being a Braves fan, that was the catcher that I paid attention to the most. And as any little kid, you want to be that guy on your favorite team, and that's who I always envisioned myself as when I was back behind the plate.
We'll get to, because you already brought up 2021, and we can get to that. I was curious, when you were still a kid, was there a favorite moment or a favorite game, favorite highlight of watching a Braves game as you were growing up?
Yeah, I think growing up, I think it was the routine of watching games for us. It was like, I wouldn't say one moment because you're so young to remember the like really special moments, but I'd say like our routine was we'd get home from school and we'd either have baseball practice or some kind of sport practice, and it was like as soon as we walked in the door, took our shoes off, sat down at the dinner table, we had a TV, and our whole family would sit and watch the Braves game, and that was what we did during dinner, and that was just our nightly routine during the baseball season. And so it's just like almost like a home comfort, is just turning on the Braves game and letting that be a part of our life.
It's a wonderful thing. It really is. That's like every Sunday to me is I have the Braves game on. Luckily, my wife's a big sports fan too, so we're big fans of multiple TVs with multiple things going on. But Sundays is, yes, we have the Braves game on, but we watch the NASCAR race every Sunday too, occasionally Saturday night, depending on the track and the time. But that I have that on Sundays. I'm like, oh, it's Sunday. It's race day. There's such a comfort in that. One of the things I love about baseball so much is what you just touched on, is it's every day. Yeah. It's just part of your daily routine. My parents are empty nesters now, and they're like, it's like, so what are y'all doing now? Dad's like, your mom and I just watch the Braves game every night. When it's off season, we don't really know what to do. I was like, oh, there you go. So you carried on from a little kid all the way up.
That's
awesome.
Awesome.
Through retirement. Yeah. Are you able to keep up? How much are you able to keep up with Braves and baseball during the season? Because like, as I said earlier, the NASCAR schedule is so intense and so long. I mean, you're going, February to November. So how much are you able to actually watch during the season?
I watch a surprising amount. So like our kind of life routine right now with our kids is get home, have dinner, and take baths and everything, get the kids in bed, and then I turn the game on, and Haley and I kind of have our own like hour and a half of just kind of relaxed, where we're not touched and we're not overstimulated by three children, and we watch, and I'll watch most of the game, and then we'll go to bed after that. So that's kind of our routine. So I'm catching a lot of games. I'd say before the World Series and leading up to the World Series, I don't think I missed a game for about 4 years. Then we won the World Series, and I kind of took a deep breath for a year or so there. But now I'm like, all right, every single game again, and I'm back into it for almost every night. So
were you in the 21 World Series? Were you watching at home?
I was. My brother came to a game. I had my in-laws were in town, and it was my son captain. It was his first birthday, so it was like kind of hard timing for me to leave, and we were planning all this stuff. So, but it was awesome. I got to watch the Braves win a World Series with my son. So like who, and I mean, he's won. He doesn't remember it, but for me, it was awesome.
Yeah, you'll remember it.
Yeah, I'll remember it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You said you were so nervous watching that. I mean, the nerves. It's so funny as a sports fan, because I feel that watching my teams, like the nerves you feel, and it's like even in my brain, I can't just tell myself like, hey man, you're not involved in this yourself. Like you're going to be okay, however this goes, but you're so nervous. Like, how do the nerves for that compare to like for you getting in the car on Sunday?
Yeah, it's different, because I'm not in control. And I think that's what makes it worse for me, is like, I feel like I have some control and I have adrenaline when I'm in the car, and it's a different level of, I would call it maybe anxiety, but it's a good anxiety. Sometimes anxiety gets treated as like a bad thing, but sometimes in the race car, it's a good anxiety. Like, let me at it. Like, let's just get going. And then for watching like my favorite sports teams or watching the Braves, it's like, I can't control anything. I can't escape it, but I have to watch it, and you put so many hours and so much time and so much of your heart into cheering on this team because you love it so much. And it's just like, you don't want to see them fail. Almost it's easier to fail on your own than it is to watch something that you care so much about fail that you can't really have anything to do with. So I think that's, as fans, why we get so tied in and we fall in love so much, and it does so much to our bodies physically and emotionally to watch our teams win and lose. So
yeah, absolutely. So it's so funny the way you describe the control element there. So this is with my dad, who is a former race car driver. It's not even a joke. It's just for real. Yeah. My mom, my sisters, they love roller coasters, love theme parks, love them to death. Dad hates roller coasters, and that was always, my mom's like, you drove race cars for a living. Yeah. How could you hate roller coasters? He's like, I have no control over those things. Yeah. He's like, I don't have any control over it. It's just some guy hitting a button. I have zero control there. Yeah. He's like, I have complete control, or at least he thinks he does. Yeah. He's got complete control. So that's exactly what it is. It's like, if it's out of your hands, that's what drives the nerves crazy.
Yeah. I let my wife drive on the streets, and I'm not a huge, even though we fly constantly, I'm not a huge fan of flying. It's just like, it's a control thing, you know. It's just like I'd rather be the one that's that's in control of the outcome. But I try to let my wife drive so I can kind of work on that. But she would come on here and tell you and admit that I am a terrible backseat driver. So yeah, it's not fun for her either.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Well, and with 3 kids in the car.
Yeah.
That's fun. So we've got the Speedway Classic coming up in Bristol, August 2nd versus the Reds. I was actually just up there a couple weeks ago for some preliminary meetings and everything, and we were just kind of laying out the site. And I stood in the infield, and I was looking at about home plate, and I was looking around over there at turns 1 and 2. I'm like, this, just visualizing. I'm like, this is going to be ridiculously cool. What did you think when you just even heard that was a thing, that the Braves were going to play a game at Bristol?
I was amped. First, I checked the schedule to see if I was going to make it. Unfortunately, we're racing too. So, man, I don't know if people understand unless they've actually been to Bristol Motor Speedways. They call it their last great Coliseum, and it's probably the most not popular, realistically named stadium. It really feels like you're walking into a gladiators arena. For when we roll in and we're doing driver intros and the fans are packed in there, hundreds of thousands of people. It gives me chills just thinking about it, just the electric atmosphere that we get for a NASCAR race. Now, you take all that noise from our race cars away, and you have just the cracks of baseball bats and the fans, and it's going to be an epic atmosphere. Tying our world and MLB together, and then doing it with my favorite team. So I'm so super thrilled. We're going to be tuned in, watching for sure, and the way that it's going to come about with the racetrack in the background, tying NASCAR and baseball, and then you're gonna have Tim McGraw doing a concert too, so that's awesome. And then he's got, obviously his father was a baseball player too, so this is gonna be such an epic game, and hopefully the Braves walk away with a huge win.
That's what we're hoping.
We want at least 10 runs over the Reds at least.
That's what the rumor is, that I keep hearing, is that they think the way this, and you never know until you actually play. The rumor is that they think this is going to be set up. It's going to be a hitters kind of. It's going to play favorably to the hitters.
I'd imagine no wind in there. It's pretty deep down in a bowl, and I think you're going to have some. It's a hitters spot. So
yeah. What is just in general, because you've obviously been to Bristol many a times. Yeah. What are some of your favorite memories and just things that have happened to you at Bristol over the years?
Man, I've had a lot of opportunities to win races there. It's one of my favorite tracks just because of the atmosphere that I'm talking about. I've had chances and had some bad luck happen at the end. I was racing with Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, I believe is Brad or Joey, and they both crashed, and I was third, and they crashed, and I couldn't get out of the way fast enough, and I crashed into them, and then my brother was running fifth, and he ends up winning the race somehow. That was one of the bad memories, but I've had some good runs there. This year we had a solid day and racing on the dirt at Bristol Motor Speedway. That's where I grew up racing. Actually, in this area, the Chattanooga, Tennessee, North Georgia area was almost like my brother and I's home tracks for racing. So we love this area. And then when they put dirt on Bristol, that was kind of bringing us back to our roots too. So that was so much fun for me. I hate that we went away from it. Hopefully they'll bring it back. They do so many fun things there. So. But there's been so many cool moments. One of the cool moments was actually this year wasn't even me racing a car, but we took wiffle ball bats and we were on the backstretch and hitting dingers over the backstretch fence. I will say I hit the most home runs. I can switch hits, so I hit four lefty and 6 righty. So yeah.
Who all was taking part in this competition?
It was me and our whole pit crew and some of the guys on our college racing team. So our pit crew are all ex-athletes. They played baseball in college. They played football, and the old driver took the home run challenge there.
I love it. Yeah. I'm sure you haven't let them forget about it, right?
No, I won't let anybody forget.
Yeah. I think that's one thing, and that's especially for, obviously this is a Braves baseball centered podcast, but I think for folks that aren't as familiar with NASCAR, that I think is super interesting and cool, and you just touched on, is that your pit crew, it's not just, obviously you've got mechanics, you got people that are the best in the world at working cars, designing, all that part of it. But the pit crew guys, I mean, these guys are legitimate world-class athletes. I mean, that's correct, right? They're all, as you said, former ball players.
I've been competing in the Cup Series for 12 years. This will be my 7th full-time season, but obviously I grew up around this sport. Every year, the level that these pit crew guys get to is incredible. I mean, they're doing stops in 8 seconds now. 4 tires, full of fuel, and we're out of the pit box in 8 seconds. It's amazing, and these guys are top-notch athletes. a lot of them are walking off some of the best college programs in football and stepping right into the pit crew programs and working their way into roles, and they're needed all the way through the field. They make such a difference. When we're out there in the difference in a lap time from first to 30th in our field is 0.2 of a second. You can hardly click a stopwatch that fast. If you just take one and click it as fast as you can, that's the amount of time from first to 30th. Every little thing matters. So if you can come down and your pit crew can make up half a second, that's massive. So we put a lot of emphasis in that, and those guys are like I said, top-level athletes, and they mean a lot to our sport.
I think that's one of the things there's such a parallel between NASCAR and baseball. You know, baseball, the cliches or the saying is always it's a game of inches.
Yeah.
It's really a game of centimeters. I didn't learn the metric system, so I don't know. Whatever smaller than that, you know, it's a game of just fractions of fractions, and NASCAR is that times infinity. I mean, it is just as you just described it there. It's one of the things that I love about the two sports. It's kind of parallels the strategy that's involved. Yeah. You can be a casual fan of both and not ever even want to know the super detailed stuff. But if you do want to know it, it's so fascinating on both of them. Just the mind games, and then, you know, what adjustment are they making to the car? Why did they pit here and not there? Same as like a pitcher. Why did he go with this slider there? Why did they shift the third baseman over just a little bit? You know, the strategy. I feel like maybe there's something to that. I haven't sat here and like written a dissertation on it or anything, but why I love both of those two so much is the strategy element of both of them.
I think you're on it for sure. I think both of these sports compared to other sports, most sports are you kind of see what you get, and it's kind of all out there. But baseball, there's so much behind the mental side of it, and when you kind of as a fan choose to dive in and learn a little bit more, that opens another door, and you learn a little bit more. Okay, this is why they do that. And same thing with our sport. I have people come up all the time and say, like, I don't really get what you guys do. You're going left. I'm like, all you have to do is come to a race one time or listen to us on the radio one time, and you'll fall in love with the sport even deeper. And then when you listen to us, you hear the verbiage and what we're talking about, then you fall in love a little bit more. You understand a little bit more. And the technical sides, and we live in such small margins, and it's like, how do you beat somebody in such a small margin when every little thing seems like everything's equal? How do you beat somebody? And that's where both of these games come into play so close.
I think they both have something very in common with what you just said there. If you don't understand baseball or you've never liked it, well, go to a game.
Yeah.
See the field for the first time. See the stadium. See how fast it is. See how it moves in person. Get a feel for it. With NASCAR, it's the same thing. I did this with my wife when we were still dating a few years back. She didn't know nothing about NASCAR. Of course, I'm watching every week, so then she had to start watching it with me. Sort of got it. Sort of went along with it. Then I took her to a race at Atlanta, and I would never forget it. We sat kind of past the start-finish line, about halfway up the stands. Okay. So you guys took the green, go around, but coming around full speed the first time. Yeah. You guys come flying by, and this is a family show, so I won't say what she said exactly, but she looks at me. Her eyes are the biggest I've ever seen, and she just goes, "Holy!" Yeah. And that was 5 years ago. She's been hooked or 4 years ago. She's been hooked ever since. Yeah. So I think both sports are the same way. It's like, if you don't get it, go. Yeah. Go check out a NASCAR race. Where are you guys at this weekend, next 2 weeks?
Kansas. We're in Kansas this upcoming weekend. I fly out Saturday, I believe, and then we go to North Wilkesboro, which is in our backyard, to our AllStar Race. So that'll be our AllStar event, and then we're in Charlotte. So we're kind of at home the next couple weeks, which is nice for our family, because right now for our sport, we are in the middle. I think we have 29 weeks in a row till the end of our season. No off weekends.
That's crazy.
Our schedule is become quite grueling and long. We started in February, I think, on the 6th, and we've had 2 off weekends until November 6th. So that's and those are gone now. So that tells you the rest of the story of what's heading down the pipe for us.
Goodness gracious. Well, you mentioned the All-Star Race. I love that it's back at North Wilkesboro. Of course, we're hosting the All-Star Race. The All-Star Race. We're hosting the All-Star game here at Truist Park. So we're excited about that. I've always thought that NASCAR has one of the best All-Star events, and now it's even better that it's in a classic track. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask, how much fun is that to go back to a place like North Wilkesboro for that event?
It's so cool. I think for me, too, my dad grew up racing there, and he won a lot of races. So I heard stories. They have a cool elevator that when you win, you ride the elevator to the top of a roof, and that's where Victory Lane is. So my dad used to brag to my brother and I about how many elevator rides he has. So going back to the track that he raced on, and so much history in NASCAR is in, and it's 45 minutes from my home. So it's just like, it is our backyard. It is something that we have pride in, and you just roll into it, and it's literally like like walking into the field of dreams, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, it's just this small little area in the hills of North Carolina, but so much history was made there. And you can just feel it when you walk in. There's something different about this place. And we go to these amazing stadiums and racetracks that have so much money put into them. And you walk into that one, it just feels different. It feels like this is where NASCAR was started. And we get to compete on that track now, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, definitely check out the AllStar Race. And, hopefully if it works in your schedule, hopefully we can get you down here for the AllStar game.
You guys give me here. We'll find a way to get here. If there's an open seat for me to sit in, I will get here. So don't worry about that.
All right, we'll see what we can do. We'll make some calls.
Yeah.
One last question I did want to ask just about the season so far. You're with a great new team. First year with Colleague. I've rooted for you guys. I just love what Colleague has done in recent years and how the program is being built. So we're still early on in the season, really. So how's it going? How you feeling? And just how's the season going for you?
Man, it's been really good. I mean, our results haven't fully shown the way that we've ran. I think sometimes you can, and even in baseball, sometimes you can play a really good game and still lose, but feel like, okay, we're heading in the right direction. Right? You can feel that momentum start to change. And that's what we've done most of the year, and last week was a good finish for us. We've ran really well, but we've had little mistakes that have taken us out of getting the result. But just being a part of Colleague Racing, Matt Colleague, our owner, does such a good job of putting the right people in the right place. Chris Rice, our president who runs the program, he is such a good leader and every day directing our guys and just focusing on winning. And we have built a winning mindset, a development mindset that we're just focused on getting our race cars faster. And I've been a part of different teams. My career has not been a linear line to the top. I've been bounced around. I've been in and out of the Cup Series a few times and have kind of grinded my way back. And for me, at this point in my career, getting what is, in my opinion, the best opportunity I've ever had, I feel like I'm at the best spot I've been in as a driver too. It's been quite the blessing, and this year's been great, and I'm looking forward to every single race we get to go to. I think there's not one that we don't have a chance, if we put it all together, that we can't go win.
And you're the 10 car, right?
10 car.
All right, we love the number 10 in Braves
right.
country. Chipper's like my guy and a lot of other people's guys.
Yeah.
So I think there's so many crossovers between Braves and NASCAR, and the number 10, I don't know, that should be a winner. So I think I think this is the year.
Yeah.
So we're definitely rooting for you. We thank you so much for you and your family taking the time to come down here and for you being on the show. And we'll be rooting for you this year and hope you'll have a great time at the game. And we hope to see you back at Truist Park soon.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.